5 to this fantastic Wellbeing PTA and LST event. Are you ready? Yeah! All right. I'm very happy to introduce Mr. Adrian Anantawan and Miss Mandy Harvey, two extraordinarily talented musicians who both have incredible stories of resilience and perseverance. They are... You'll see them very shortly. They're here to share their experiences and perform for you. And we're really lucky to have this opportunity. I also want to take this brief time to thank the PTA for producing this event with LST, with the Learning Support Team, as part of our continued journey to inclusion. So just before we start, you're all sitting so beautifully, but just remember grades 3 and 4 and 5. I just want to remind you what it means to be respectful audience members. I'm not going to ask you to answer the question right now, because you all know. Sitting quietly, active listening, not talking to each other, not swinging on the chairs, kicking the person in front of you, sitting up on your chairs, playing with your desk. Just relaxed, focused, and attentive to what's going on stage. Can you do that? Yeah! All right, please enjoy yourselves. Welcome, Adrian and Mandy. Do you want to?
Wow, thank you so much. I'm really appreciating all of your attention and all of the wonderful posture you have. You're such an incredible school. My name is Mr. Adrian, and I play the violin. And, oh, well, thank you. Well, thank you. Wait until you hear some music. So I was going to give people a choice by vote, because vote is important. Should I play, and raise your hand quietly, a slow piece or a fast piece, okay? Raise your hand if it's a slow piece of music. And raise your hand if you'd like to hear a faster piece of music. Okay, fine. Faster piece of music it is. All right, here we go. Thank you so much. So, as you can probably tell, my body looks a little bit different than maybe someone that you might see on a regular basis. My hand here has 5 fingers, which is really nice. And then I have a small hand right here, and I'm actually going to take off my adaptation right here to show you my small hand. I know, so it's very interesting because I still have 5 tiny fingers. Let's count together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And when I was young, he used to be my imaginary friend. And what I would do if I was ever lonely and didn't have a lot of people around me, he would like walk up like this, because I called him Mr. Dinosaur Hand. And he walked up like this. And I'd be like, "Hi, how are you?" And he'd go, "Oh, it's good to see you too. You're hungry?" And then he'd walk around and then go to my hand and then eat some leaves. And then when he got full, he'd burp like, "Brr." And then he'd run away like this. I'm like, "Don't leave me, my own hand." And luckily he was just part of my body, which is really nice. So people like to ask me whether it hurts to have a smaller hand. And actually, it doesn't at all. It's sort of like how some people are short, some people are taller, some people have lighter hair, darker hair. If you ask them, "Does it hurt to have very dark hair?" You'd be like, "Well, no, it's pretty normal, because that's all I've had my entire life." So I've had this hand my entire life. And when I was first born, my grandmother got me a bracelet. I was a tiny little baby. And then she'd put this bracelet on my small hand because it had bells attached to it. And whenever I was shaking inside the crib as a little baby, whenever I shook this hand, it would go like this. Jingle, jingle, jingle. Jingle, jingle, jingle. Let's do it together. Ready? Jingle, jingle, jingle. Jingle, jingle, jingle. And stop. So I could do that for hours. If you did that for hours, you would get pretty tired. But because I did that, my grandmother said that my arm was really strong, and she was trying to get it as strong as possible. So just because I had a different hand, and it might have looked a little bit scary to some people, for her, it was just a hand that needed a little bit of exercise and maybe just a little bit more help. We call that type of tool an adaptation. Can we say that together? Adaptation. Yeah, so for instance, if you have problems with your vision, your adaptation, some of you are sort of wearing them right now. Point to yourself, you have glasses. That's called an adaptation. Exactly. If your vision was even more difficult or challenging, your adaptation would maybe be a cane, so you can sort of touch things so that you can take a look at various places and feel them instead of trying to see them. So I was in 5th grade. Raise your hand if you're in 5th grade. I'm curious. Oh, good. All the people right there. So I was in 5th grade, and the first musical instrument that I had to try to play was the recorder. Raise your hand if you've heard of the recorder before. Oh, excellent. It's a universal instrument. So the recorder, as you probably can tell, has a lot of holes. Probably has at least 10 holes, or maybe 8. And I only had 5 fingers, so I couldn't play all the notes. So my parents said, "You know what? We should look at different instruments to play." So I said to myself, well, maybe I could play the trumpet. So I tried the trumpet, and it was way too loud for the house. Not a good choice. My dad, he said, "You know what you could do to save money? The most cheap instrument is the human voice, because you don't have to buy anything from any store." So I tried to sing, and you'll hear a professional singer after this, but I sang like this. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. And my mom was on the other side of the house. She said, "What's that horrible sound?" And then my dad said, "It's your son. Don't you love him?" Oh, I felt really sad, and I didn't know what to do. And then, luckily, my dad used to play the violin. I'll just show you very quickly. And the violin is a beautiful instrument, and it had 4 strings. I said, "I want to play that." And I started playing it exactly like, actually, the instrument we have here, an ukulele. And I played it like this. And And my dad said, that's not how you play the violin. I was like, isn't the violin something that you'd like to pluck like this? He's like, no, you have to use a bow. I was like, uh-oh, this isn't going to be good. So luckily, I was able to go to the hospital and get something made for me, an adaptation called a bow holder. I'll show it to you right now. It has some aluminum. It's very, very light. And then it has some plaster right here. And then I have a couple straps attached to it. And what I do, actually, I'm so glad we have the table there. I have to open the Velcro, if you can see, and then I close it on my small dinosaur hand at that point. And I'm able to hold the bow pretty easily. So I remember my first lessons, I couldn't play with the bow because we didn't have this adaptation made. So I had to play like this all the time. It was, oh, thank you. That was not as impressive as I thought. Well, thank you. So I got very strong with my pinky finger, and then I got this adaptation made, so I played it like this. And I was like, okay, it's gonna sound really good. It's gonna sound really good. It's gonna sound really good. And it went like, and my mom said, what is that horrible sound? She said it sounded like a cat with a scratchy throat. And then my dad said, that's your son who's playing the violin. And don't you love him? Oh, it was not good. It was difficult struggles. So I had to do something where you repeat it again and again and again. I want to see if people actually know this word. We're not going to say it out loud. It starts with the letter P. It's two. Okay, let's say it together. 3, 2, 1. Practice. Exactly. So I had to play over and over again. Not good. And then eventually it sounded a lot better. Like after 20 years, it was like. Wow, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay, well, I thought I would play another song. How much time do we actually have again? Maybe a few more minutes? Okay, let's do another vote. Should I play a slow piece or a fast piece? Raise your hand if you want to hear a slow piece. Oh, good. We have contrast. Excellent. Okay, so this one will be very relaxing because your teachers were telling you that, you know, sometimes you're a little wiggly or you're playing with the desks and everything, and your teachers are saying, let's just relax. So we're going to imagine something together. This is my grandmother's favorite piece of music. It is about butterflies. So you'll hear sort of like butterflies at the very end. It goes like this. Or you'll hear like flutterings of wings. And I want you to take yourself to a really relaxing place because this song is about two people who are in love together and they decide to, become butterflies to roam the mountains forever. So why don't we take a deep breath and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and let's remain calm. And bring yourself to this relaxing space. Okay, I'm gonna start. Shh. Okay, ready. Thank you. All right. Well, I know that I might play one more song, and I think we're going to answer some of your questions pretty soon. But I wanted to introduce a very special friend of mine. She is an incredible singer. She plays the ukulele, and she has a really, really special story to share too. I want you to give a round of applause for my friend Mandy.
We actually have a welcome from a special grade 4 class here for you, Miss Mandy.
Hello, Mandy. Nice to meet you.
So welcome, Miss Mandy Harvey.
All right. You guys are so sweet. 你好吗? Yeah. I'm so excited to be here. I wanted to also talk about adaptation and to say that for my journey, mine was not something that I was born with, but something that happened to me later, and then I had to learn how to adapt, not just to create a tool, but to also inside of my heart and inside of who I was to pivot and change. Now, I want you to think in your mind, do you have a dream? Something that you want to do in your life? Can you see it in your head? Is it really vivid? Yes? So when I was 4, I had a big dream, like a tidal wave. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I was in a choir class, and I was handed the sheet music for a piece that everybody was performing. And I've been a hard of hearing child my whole life, but I could still hear. And when I was handed the sheet of music, it was as if fireworks shot off in my brain. And I said, this is what I want to do forever. I want to be a part of choir forever. Because there's something, when you have a difference or a disability, or you're painfully shy and awkward like me, you find yourself to be afraid to interact with other people, to be afraid to approach other kids, to try to make friends. And so I was a very quiet and lonely kid. But inside of choir, I got to be a part of a team. I got to be instantly with other friends, and we were working together as one group to make something beautiful. That's what I wanted to do forever. And so I had the ability to go to school and to have that be my study. But while I was there, my hearing loss started to deteriorate, and it changed, and it got harder and harder to hear until I couldn't hear anything else. So I want you to imagine this. I'm going to say, hi, how are you? It's nice to meet you. But I'm going to get quieter and quieter so that you can experience how it felt like for me, okay? So at the beginning, be, hi, how are you? It's nice to meet you. Then within a couple of weeks, hi, how are you? It's nice to meet you. Then, hi, it not you. Then later, so if you can imagine talking to people, how does that make you feel? Right. Does it make you feel a little silly? Does it make you feel a little confused? So my adaptation came with taking the situation that I have, which is a quiet world, and finding tools that I can use so that I don't feel silly, so that I still get to communicate with you, so that I don't feel confused, but I can find a way to embrace the change that has happened in my life and actually see it as a superpower. Yeah? So this is what happened for me. Initially, I was scared. I think that's a very normal thing. When you have a dream, something that you're chasing, something you're very passionate about, and it goes away, are you happy? No. It can be very hard on your heart, and you can feel like a failure. It can be very scary. It can be very sad. And there was a time when I struggled with that. But I also started to find myself in situations and be inspired by other people like Adrian, to see the beauty of my situation, to be proud that I am unique. Every single one of you has your own story. Every single one of you is an individual. You are unique. There's only one of you, and that is something to celebrate. So for me, I needed to find a way to celebrate being unique. And I wanted to start, before I talk more about that, with a song that is saying that I am a bunch of different broken pieces sometimes, but I'm creating a masterpiece. You glue me all together and I'm gonna shine. So I wanted to sing that for you. Move this one in just a little bit, just in case you need it. When I feel like I'm all broken pieces that I wish I could just throw away, look for glue I can put in between them, back in place, back in place. 'Cause my heart is way up on the ceiling, and my mind took a boat, sailed away. But I still got my angels and demons, used up string, can of paint. Well, I'm no artist, but I think I've got this. Might be the hardest thing I've ever done. Pick up the pieces, pieces of me, and I'll be a masterpiece when I am done. Might never be done, it might never be, it might never be done. There's no blueprint for me, no instructions, so I went ahead and made them up. But I know that it's worth all the trouble. Paper cuts, paper cuts. Well, I'm no artist, but I think I've got this. Might be the hardest thing I've ever done. Pick up the pieces, pieces of me, and I'll be a masterpiece when I am done. Might never be done, might never be, might never be done. Never be done, might never be, might never be done. Yeah, I look pretty good from a distance, but I'm a mess if you see me close up. It's an ongoing pièce de resistance. All lit up, light it up. Well, I'm no artist, but I think I've got this. Might be the hardest thing I've ever done. Pick up the pieces, pieces of me, and I'll be a masterpiece when I am done. Might never be done, might never be, I might never be done. I might never be done, might never be, might never be done. Thank you. So I wanted to talk a little bit about hearing loss. I wanted to talk about the adaptations that I had to do. So I had a couple of different barriers that I needed to climb for me. One was to be able to communicate. When you're only lip reading, that's difficult. I want to give you an example. I want to say the words that you probably know. I hope that you hear quite often. I love you. Yeah? I want you to see what it looks like. I love you. Yeah? Olive juice. I love you. Olive juice. I love you. They're the same. The same, yes? So I had to learn how to lip read. I had to learn how to put the pieces of the puzzle together, which was scary and hard. The second barrier that I had to face was being afraid. How many of you get nervous when you have to give a presentation? How many of you get nervous when people stare at you? Yes. When I was your age, I had to give a presentation. I had to stand in front of my class and to give a speech about Martin Luther King Jr. And I started, I don't want to do it. And I vomited on the entire front row of my class. Yeah. I became known as the puke girl. All the way through college, people know me as the girl who vomits on people. That's hard. So my passion for music was never in performance. I never wanted people to stare at me. My passion for music was always in education. I wanted to be able to give you the tools to be able to express yourself, to work as a team, to get to be able to have that friendship, that community. But now, with my hearing loss, I'm finding myself working hard to get back into music, but the only way that makes sense to me is performance, which means I have to not be afraid. Very difficult to do. And so I started with surrounding myself with amazing people and working extremely hard. The first way that I got into music was by feeling the vibrations. So when I strum on the ukulele, I can feel the ukulele. I can feel my fingers as the strings are vibrating. I can feel it in the wood. And when I'm singing, I can feel it on my throat. I want you to take your hand and very gently place it on your throat. And we're going to count to 3. We're going to make a noise, and then we're going to stop, okay? Ready? 3, 2, 1. Ooh. And stop. Did you feel it on your hand? Did you feel it on your throat? All right, focus. Focus, focus. So when I'm singing, when I'm playing, that's all I get. That's what I feel. So when you do this exercise and you go, ooh, for me, the strongest vibration for ooh for this note is right here. If I go, ooh, and go up the octave, it's not here anymore. It changes, it moves. So then, yeah, okay. Focus. So it moves, and so now I have to learn how to play my voice like an instrument based off of how it feels, which is really cool, but really scary. The other thing that I had to get past for fear is being loud and having other people listen to me. Because I'm shy, I get scared, I throw up sometimes because I get scared. And when you sing, you can't hide. You can't be invisible and make noise. I was taught how to sing opera. That's loud, yes? You can't be like, oh, and be quiet. You're there. People see you, yeah? But what happened, which was amazing, is after I lost my hearing, I found that I wasn't quite as afraid. When you make your big dreams, when you have these moments and things that you chase and that you work really hard and they change, you still have the opportunity to get there, but sometimes you have to modify. Sometimes you need an adaptation. Sometimes the difference is whether or not you're brave enough to try. brave enough to not do it right the first time, get back up and try again. Yeah? So I want to play a second song. This song is called Try. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I was inspired to write this song from a friend of mine named Eric Weinmeier. He's the first blind man to climb Mount Everest. Yeah, that's incredible. And he said, Mandy, why are you not writing your own music? And I said, because I'm scared. And he said, what's the worst that can happen? And I didn't know, so I went home and I wrote this song. It took me about 10 minutes. It's one of my first songs that I ever wrote. But I have hidden feelings in it. You know that exercise we did with how you feel? When the chorus, when I do the try, it feels right here and it feels weird. And when I sing it right and it feels weird, I know I'm right. But it has hidden feelings for me, the whole song. I don't feel the way I used to. The sky is gray, much more than it is blue. But I know one day I'll get through, and I'll take my place again if I would try. If I would try. Is true, so I'll fight for a breakthrough, and I'll breathe in you again if I would try. If I would try. Oh, there is no one but me to blame, 'cause I know the only thing in my way is me. I don't live the way I want to. That whole picture never came into view, but I'm tired of getting used to the day. So I will try. So I will try. If I would try. If I would try. You. This is so sweet. So I wrote that song and I never expected anyone to ever hear it, except I had this opportunity that came across for me to audition for America's Got Talent. And I said no, because it's scary. You're gonna stand up there and have people stare at you? I vomit on people when I get nervous. You think that's what they wanna see on national television? I was scared. But I talked to the people who know me the best, my core group of friends, my family, and I said, what do you guys think? 'Cause I'm scared. And they asked me a question, what do you want to do with your life? I wanna make people smile. I want to show a different side of what a disability looks like to be a living example like Adrian, to say that it's okay to need to adapt, it's okay to have tools, adaptations, it's okay to be different, it's okay to feel weird, it's okay to be the one that people don't think is that cool. You have value. And the only person who knows what I am capable of is me. So I get to shine and prove to you that I am worth it. I want to be an example of someone who's failed while they tried and had to get back up and try again, who had their dream not work out the way that they thought it was supposed to go, and then had to reinvent the dream. That's what I want to do. So they said, well, why don't you do that then? So I did. I went on to America's Got Talent. I played my song Try. I had no idea if it was going to be good or bad, but I was repeating into myself, to my head, what's the best that can happen? What's the best that can happen? Even if I got X'd off the show, even if I didn't do well on TV, what's the best that can happen from this moment? I tried. And maybe I can encourage one person to try as well. So that, for me, made it worth being afraid and having to conquer that fear. What I'd like to do with you guys is to teach you a little bit of sign language. Would you be interested? Yeah? One of the best things that ever happened to me was learning a new form of communication. Being able to communicate freely was one of the biggest things that helped me to stop being afraid of talking to people. So when you have a language barrier, it can be very difficult. But sign language for me gave me wings, and I feel like I can fly now. So I want to be able to share some with you. How many of you guys know the song Somewhere Over the Rainbow? Okay. Awesome. So we're going to do just a little bit. We won't do the whole thing because we don't have time. But if you're ready to try with me, I want you to shake it out. Get loose with the neck. Yeah? You ready? Okay, focus. You're going to take your finger and you're going to wiggle it back and forth. That means where. For somewhere over the rainbow. So where? We're going to draw a rainbow. Over the rainbow. Going to take peace signs, 2 of them, and we're going to look up towards the future. Way up high. And we're going to do land. There's a land that I've heard of once, in a lullaby. Music, baby. Yeah. Okay. Back to somewhere. Somewhere over the rainbow. Skies are blue. So you want to close your fingers, tuck your thumb. Blue. And this is my favorite part of the song. And the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. You're going to have one finger up here. That's your dream. And one finger here, that's you. So now when you're chasing your dream, is it easy? So you're not just going to get to it, right? You have to work hard. And the dreams that you dare to dream. Yeah? Keep that hand shape. Really do come true. Let's do that one more time. Up here. And the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me. Where troubles, we're going to do peace signs and crunch them like T-Rex. Where troubles melt like lemon drops, way above the chimney tops, that's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. Remember blue? Blue birds fly. And he could fly wherever you want him to go. He can be really slow. Slow bird, very fast bird. Slow bird. Blue birds fly. Birds fly over the rainbow. We're going to do Y. So you have your fingers, put these two together. That means a Y, right? Why, then a why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh, why can't I? Yeah. Yes, I'm so proud of you. Thank you guys so much. I know that we have some questions that you wanted to ask, so I'm going to sit over here so I can join Adrian.
Let's give a really big round of applause. That was amazing from Mr. Adrian and Miss Mandy. Thank you. So we did collect a group of questions from some of the grades, and we put them on our slide right there. Our first question for Mandy, and then the second one for both of you. What did it feel like when you got the golden buzzer on America's Got Talent, and how did it change your life?
It was weird and scary. I didn't know what it was. I hadn't seen the show before. I had only seen little clips. And so everybody backstage was like, I want to get a golden buzzer. I want to get a golden buzzer. I want to get a golden buzzer. And I was just like, I'm happy to be here. So when it happened, I was in shock. I was like, what just happened? I thought I won a car. There's no car. But he's like, you're not going to need a translator for this. And the ground shook. And so I got scared at first. I was like, ah. And I have had such an amazing experience afterwards, because sometimes there are moments that you share with an audience, and that's the end. There are other times when that moment sometimes gets shared with the world. And so that video has been seen over 600 million times, and in countries all over the world. And so it's allowed me to be able to tour all over the world, to be able to get to meet people like you, which is my favorite thing to do in the whole world, and to connect with people. Remember, I said that my dream was to be a music teacher, and that didn't work out, but the core of my dream was to be able to be a part of a team. And so being able to be in an auditorium and getting to talk with people like you, we're a team. And so it fills my heart with so much love, and it's my dream is accomplished. It's different, but it's accomplished.
Thank you, Mandy. For both of you, do you play any other instruments or have any other hobbies that you'd like to share with us?
I like to play a little bit of the piano, although I have to do it with one hand. And to be honest, these days I still like to sing a little bit, but only with Mandy, because we can do duets. I would say one of my biggest hobbies would be to go for runs, because it's always good to be able to stay healthy. Raise your hand if you play a sport here. Whoa, amazing. Okay, hands down. I'm curious. Raise your hands if you also play a musical instrument. Oh, okay, great. Well, the amazing thing about doing sports and music at the same time, they should have exercised different parts of your body. So when I run, I obviously exercise my legs. If I am playing the violin, I definitely exercise a lot of my shoulder all the time. Imagine doing this for an entire day. It definitely can get a little bit sore sometimes. And then the lovely thing about when you're playing music, everyone here, is that you get to practice to be in a community, whether it be an orchestra or a band or just a group of people that you like to make music with. And you can also exercise your emotions and feelings as well. Raise your hand if you feel like sometimes when you play music, you can get a lot of different emotions or feel a lot of different emotions. Yeah, exactly. I would say that it's more or just as fun to be an audience on your side as much as it was for me to watch all of you signing and performing as well. That's one of my favorite hobbies, to go to concerts and to see other people, especially young people, play music.
Thank you.
Amazing. I used to play a lot the guitar. I switched to the ukulele because I was born with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, so it's a connective tissue disorder. Can I show you something that's kind of a little gross, a little weird? Don't get nervous. But so my hands and my muscles, everything is very hypermobile. So you know how some people can bend their hands like this? I can go the other way. So my body does that everywhere. And so for me, playing the guitar can be very difficult. But I do play some piano. I'm not a pianist. I like to hire pianists, people who know how to really do their job. I can plunk. I can back myself up with piano, but mostly ukulele and voice. I spend a lot of time with voice. I would say one of my hobbies is writing. I love to write music. I love to exercise as well. I like CrossFit. For me, jogging is something that's something I do throughout my week, and it's given me a lot of joy. And you know how some people, when they exercise, they listen to music to kind of keep them motivated? For me, I have a special headphones so that I can keep a very specific pace. And so what it does is it actually doesn't sit on my ears at all. It sits behind, so it holds behind, and this bone that's behind your ear, it sits on that bone, and then all it is a beat. So it'll go ba, 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 so that when I'm jogging, I can keep a beat. And then if I want to go faster, I turn the beat up and I jog faster. But that's a real joy for me as well.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a couple more questions. We're moving on to grade 4 students. So for Adrian, how does the device on your right arm help you play the violin? What adaptations do you need to make? Some of this you've answered, but maybe you could elaborate.
Yeah, so I think the wonderful thing about playing the violin, as I was saying, this is an adaptation that holds the bow. It's extremely light, and it's very, how can I say, flexible to just go back and forth. And I can play like very soft, I can play pretty loud, I can play like electricity. And that takes a lot of energy sometimes, but it's very light and it's actually very useful. Actually, I wanted to show you another adaptation I have. So this one is for the violin bow, but over here I also have an arm that I can sort of put it on like this, and people can actually sort of can't really tell if I have my sleeve down. This arm in particular, it actually has fingerprints and everything, and let me see if I can actually turn it on, but it actually will close, open and close like this. So when I was in second grade, we had to do, no, maybe first grade, we had to do show and tell. Raise your hand if you've done show and tell in your classrooms. Okay, good. So you do this here in Hong Kong too. So you know how some people, like with the first day I got my hand, some people are like, I brought my toy car. I was like, oh, that's very nice, very interesting. Then one girl said, "Oh, I brought my doll. This is very interesting." I was like, "Oh, that's very interesting." And then I said, "Well, I brought my hand." And people were like, "Whoa!" They were very interested. So I became very popular all of a sudden, even though I was a little lonely as a kid. And I remember like shaking everyone's hands because they wanted to shake my hand, and the arm actually opens and closes. And then at recess, I decided to shake more hands. And then one girl said, and she was in the second grade, she said, "You know what, instead of shaking my hand, can you squeeze my nose?" I was like, "Yeah, that sounds like a great idea." So I had the arm and then I squeezed it on her nose, and she could breathe through her mouth. She's like, "Okay, that's okay now. Okay, you can stop." And then she said, "You can open it." I was like, "I'm trying, but I can't open it." I was like, it got stuck. You know why? It's because the batteries ran out. I was shaking too many hands. So the girl started to cry. It was very scary while I was there. And I had to take the arm off, and she was like this. And we're trying to pull it off. And they were like, "Call an ambulance. Call the principal." And it just stuck to her nose. And everyone at recess had to go away. The principal had to shoo everyone away. And then they called my parents. And then they got an extra battery. And then I was able to open and release her nose afterwards. But I got in big trouble with my parents and the principal. The principal said, "With great power comes great responsibility." And I was like, "Oh," because that's what Spider-Man does all the time. And I was like, "Yes, now I'm a superhero," like you were saying. So anytime that you have an adaptation, you gotta be responsible with them as well. But this one doesn't really hold the bow very well because it's quite heavy in the end. And in fact, it's out of batteries right now. So I'm glad I didn't squeeze anyone's hand or nose, or else you would have been stuck with it with the rest of the day. Uh-oh. Until we got a battery from Boston, Massachusetts, which would have been like at least 12, 15 hours or so. Not good. So yeah, adaptations are great, and sometimes they come with a lot of interesting stories.
Thank you, Adrian.
Of course.
Okay, for both of you, have you ever felt unfairly judged because of your disability? And how did you deal with it if you were?
I feel, yes. This happens to me quite often. It's something that even though I have done something very public, like a television show, it's something that I face on a daily basis. When you go to the grocery store or you walk into a classroom, if I don't see the person talking to me, I won't know that they're talking, and so I just walk by, and people will think, "Oh, she's so rude," and it's because I didn't know that you were talking at all. And when I am doing music, I think the biggest barrier that I face with judgment is she's going to be difficult to work with because she can't understand. And so that is something that I face daily, but for me, the way that I deal with it is I see it as an opportunity for education, because I understand my adaptations. He knows how to play his violin with that tool, but if you had another violinist have to use this tool, they might be a little overwhelmed at first. It's not because they can't learn how to do it. And it's not because they can't find a way for us to work together. It's that they haven't been experienced by it before. So they get afraid. And so I get to show them that I can do everything that I set my mind out to do, just a little bit different. And it gives me great joy to have to work hard. And my hope is that they can feel my warmth, they can feel my energy, but they can also feel and understand how much I practice, how hard I work, and that fear will hopefully go away.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I would say that the biggest judgments I probably had were when I was younger. And you know how sometimes when you're with their friends and you might tease each other for fun, you might laugh at each other for fun. Well, I would say that it's different if the person that you're laughing at isn't laughing with you as well. And teasing can very much slip into what we call bullying. And I think that when I was young, I was definitely laughed at in a way that didn't make me feel really great all the time, because I think that my friends thought it was fun to tease, but maybe they didn't mean it, and they were a little afraid, or they didn't ask a lot of questions, so that we could actually laugh at things together in the right way. So whenever you're thinking about laughing with other people, you should ask yourself, well, is this person feeling included? Is this a nice type of laughing, or is this something that feels a little bit more mean as well? Because those are the type of judgments that can really prevent someone like myself or yourself or Mandy to be able to be their best selves. And you're in a school right now where all of your teachers are trying to help you be your best selves, even though you don't feel like it all the time, I'm sure, because they're really strict, I'm sure. But the other thing you have to do for each other is to make sure that you're supporting one another. In fact, there are many more students here than grown-ups in the room. So who really makes the culture into something supportive or something that's mean? It's really up to you. And I know that most of you are like that, but just make sure that you continue to think, why am I laughing? Why am I scared? And when you answer the question why, it gives you permission sometimes to try.
Okay. And our last questions, thank you both, from grade 5, from Mandy. Do you have a personal ASL interpreter that travels with you? And if not, how do you communicate with people who don't know sign language?
So I, a lot of the time, have an ASL interpreter because, like I said, with lip reading, it's very difficult and it takes a lot of energy and effort. And so you're constantly playing a game and what the possibilities could be, because so many words look like other words. Red, green, they look the same, but those are very different colors. And so when I have to see a lot of people, when I do a show, I always want to have an interpreter, you know, at my concerts, because I want other people who have a hearing loss to be able to be included, because they are a part of my community and it's important to me, but also for me to meet and say hi to everybody. It becomes very tiring, and I can't always lip read when my head is tired, and so it's very nice. However, in an instance like this today, and when I visit schools, it's a very short amount of time, I have the ability to go take a nap, and it's less work. But I cannot lip read everybody. There are a lot of people who move their mouths, and it's very hard, and they don't move their upper lip, or they talk through their teeth, and I can't understand them at all. And so normally I'm like, I'm so sorry, but I can't understand what you're saying. Can you repeat what they're saying? And I find somebody who I can lip read really well and have them repeat. And I try to be as respectful as possible.
Thank you. And for both of you, what do you draw on for strength to help you continue to persevere?
So for me, in a lot of challenges, I remember learning to tie my shoelaces for the first time, and it was really difficult for me to do that. It took me like maybe 2 months. And I remember we tried to think of like different ways to hold the laces. Like sometimes I would even use like my teeth to try to hold one of the laces. My mom said that was very dirty and do not eat your shoes. I was like, okay, that's a good idea. And then like there were days where like I would try to tie it with one hand alone, and that was really difficult. And I remember my mom telling me, you know, I was like trying and trying over and over again and thinking that I was failing. And fail is a 4-letter word. Can we spell it together? F-A-I-L. And then my mom said, you know what the word fail actually could stand for. And she said, first attempt in learning. Can we say that together? First attempt in learning. So anytime that I feel like I fail or make a mistake, I say to myself, what did I learn for the first time? And even if it's something that feels like the same mistake, every single mistake has their own type of character and a little bit different. So on a daily basis, all of us make mistakes. Raise your hand if you feel like you've made a mistake today. Even a small one. Exactly. Me too. So I always think, well, if I make a mistake on the violin, what do I need to do to practice to make sure that I remember the notes a bit more? What type of scales or what type of work do I need to do to make sure that I'm growing from my mistakes and not letting them define me?
Thank you, Adrian.
One of the things that I draw strength from, because I do fail a lot, and I am constantly learning a lot, and I feel like I have to keep trying, even when I feel like I know I'm going to fail again, but I have to find the strength to keep trying. One of the things that I do to be okay to fail again is I surround myself with people who I know are going to cheer me on, people who can hold me accountable to say, hey, you're not putting in enough effort. You know, people who can hold my hand when I mess up and when I do fail and just be there for me. I also like to surround myself with people who are accomplishing something that I think is amazing. Somebody like Adrian, who is doing something that is not easy, but he puts in so much heart and so much work and so much time. That gives me the inspiration to say, I can put in the hard work, I can put in the energy, I can put in the time. And that helps me to find that internal fire. You have to really find a spark within yourself to push forward, because life is not always easy. Chasing your dream is not always easy, and sometimes when you have to deal with communication barriers, when you have to deal with judgment, when you have to deal with bullying, sometimes when you have to deal with falling apart and struggling, you have to have that spark within yourself to say, I might not have the answer today. It's impossible in this moment. But maybe tomorrow I will get it figured out. Think about the word impossible. Think about all the things in the past that used to be seen as impossible. At one point in time, people said it is impossible to fly. Now we do it every day. Yeah? We have airplanes that travel in the sky. At one point in time, that was impossible. People who can bungee jump and come back, that was impossible. All of these things, trains, planes, cars, all that stuff was impossible. But it had time and failure again and again and again and hard work, and now it's not impossible. So sometimes when I get stuck, I'm reminded by amazing people, but I remind myself that maybe just because it's difficult or feeling like it's impossible today, maybe it's just I need more time, and I need to keep trying, and I need to keep working hard so that in the future it's possible.
Thank you, Mandy, and thank both of you so much. That was amazing. Absolutely amazing. We are so lucky to have you both here. I want to invite our PTA representatives to give you some flowers, and our primary principal, Ms. Shining, to give you a souvenir of our school. Oh, yeah. If we could have just one photo, yeah.
Maybe we're together.
Thank you again. Amazing.
Thank you. No pleasure. Thank you.
Hattie, done? Okay. Thank you, teachers, and grade 3, 4, and 5. That concludes our very special event today. I believe it is dismissal. Thank you.